Hello, Department of Biology. We are going to start lecture 4, how can you prepare an efficient CV? So first of all, again, with all of the lectures I did, we are going to discuss the content outline. So first of all, the first topic is writing a CV or resume in French. Then we are going to discuss purpose of writing a CV, curriculum vitae. CV means curriculum vitae, in short means, and some helpful hints while writing your curriculum vitae is going to be documented. And let's start with writing a CV resume or CV shortly or curriculum vitae. So if you are looking a job, it's very important that you understand how to present yourself in the best way to an employer. It is done by writing a curriculum vitae or life story in Latin, called in some countries a resume, coming from French. So different countries may have different requirements and styles for this curriculum vitae writing, and you are expected to follow the correct practice for your culture and country. Of course, a CV resume is quite simply an advert to sell yourself to an employer, and you should send a CV to an employer when they ask for one in a job advert or when you are inquiring if any jobs are available. And from several hundred inquiries about a single job, employer only choose a few people who appear suitable for interview. And the purpose of your CV is just to make you attractive, interesting, worth considering to your institution or any company or so. You are going to get a job interview at the end. And if you are a student, there is probably a career advice office in your place of study to help. We have one as well. They may have fact sheets of advice on how to prepare a curriculum vitae, so make full use of them. And however, employers do not want to see the curriculum vitae, which are all written in exactly the same way, so do not just copy standard CV samples, and your CV should be your own personal and a little bit different, of course. You're going to design your own CV. So there are some helpful hints to design the CV. A CV should be constructed on a word processor or at least typed, well laid out and printed on a good quality printer. And you have to use a bold and underline print for headings, and do not use lots of different font types and sizes. Of course, you are not designing a magazine cover. Of course, you can use plenty of white space and a good border around the page, and you have to use the spell check on your computer, check that the spelling is correct in some way, and consider using bullets to start subsections or lists. Because you are using a computer or word processor, you can easily customize your CV if necessary and change the layout and the way you write your CV for different employers. Of course, you should have to picture yourself to a busy manager in the employer's office. Sure, he may have to read through 100 CVs in a half an hour, and of course, these people has got two paths. Either they put into the possible dossier or file, or waste bin, directly put into the garbage. So there are two communication principles to remember. For example, one of them is KISS principle. Keep it simple, stupid principle. And there is another perspective. If they didn't hear it, you didn't say it. So there are some helpful hints for this purpose. So when you have written a first attempt at your CV, get someone else to look at it. Just cross-check it and tell you how to make it better. And we can see that what you have written may seem simple and obvious to you, may be clear to you, but not an employer. You should have to tell something that is very different, and you have to try your best to tell about yourself. So go through it again and again with a red pen and making it shorter, more readable, and more understandable in the beginning. So before writing your CV, just sit down with a piece of paper and look at the jobs that you're applying for and consider how your skills, education, and experience just compare with the skills that the job requires. And how much information do you have about this job description? Sometimes employers do not give enough information and ask more detail if required. So spend time researching detail about the jobs that interest you and information about the employer, their structure, product success and approach from their own publicity, reports and publications, the library, just as the business reports, trade papers, college career office, newspaper reports, and as well as the internet. So you can just collect some information. Personal details are to be included in a CV, just as your name, home address, college address, phone number, email address, date of birth. Do you have your own web home page? Of course, you have to be included if it is good, of course. If your name does not always show if you are male or female, just include this. Education. Give place of education where you have studied, most recent education first. You have to chronologize it. You have to list down according to your chronology. Include subject options taken in each year of your course. Include any special project, thesis, or dissertation work. So you have to put down some pre-college courses, just as high school, etc. should then be included, including the grades and subjects taken and passed just before college will be of your most interest, and earlier college courses taken, say, at age 15 to 16 may not need much detail. And if you look at your work experience, you have to list down your most recent experience first, give the name of your employer, job title, and very important that what you actually did and achieved in that job, and part-time work should be included. Of course, you have to list down your interests. They will be particularly interested in activities where you have leadership or responsibility or which involve you in relation to the others in a team. A one-person interest, such as stamp collecting, may be of less interest to them unless it connects with the work you wish to do. So, if you just list down your interests, give only enough detail to explain. For example, if you are a captain of a sports team, they do not want to know the exact date you started, how many games you played, and how many wins you had. Basically, if you have published any articles, joined or by yourself, give details, and if you have been involved in any type of volunteer work, you have to be expected to give details. And if you look at your skills and references, ability in other languages, commuting experience, or possession of a driving license should be included as your skills. So you can give two names of the references, one from your place of study and one from any work situation you have had. Remember that they should completely recognize yourself, and they have to give the correct information. Or if it does not apply, then an older family friend who has known you for some time maybe play as a reference role, and make sure that the referrers are just willing to give you a reference and give their day and evening phone numbers if possible. For example, if you just think about the length, maybe all you need to say will fit onto one sheet of A4, but do not crowd it. You will probably need two sheets and do not normally go longer than this, and put page numbers at the bottom of your page, a little detail that may impress. If you look at the style, there are two main styles of CV with variations with them, and chronological one. The information is going to be included under general headings, education, work experience, etc. with the most recent events first. And you can see skill-based design. You think through the necessary skills needed for the job you're applying for, and then you list all your personal details under these skill headings. It's called targeting your curriculum vitae and becoming more common, at least in United Kingdom, but it is very harder to do, so take advice on whether it is okay in your country and culture. Optional extras are going to be listed. It can be good to start with a personal profile and objective statement. This is a 2 or 3 sentence overview of your skills, qualities, hopes, and plans, and it should encourage the employer to read the rest. And of course, you could add a photo of yourself, either scanned in by computer and stuck on, but make sure that it's a good one. Get a friend or working photographer to take a good portrait. Do not take a selfie or in Turkish we call it şipşak. Just get a friend or working photographer to take a good portrait, and the pictures that come out from automatic photo machines usually make you look ill like a prisoner or a little devil of all of them. So you may vary the style according to the type of job if you present it and what is accepted in your country and culture. So a big company would normally expect from a formal CV on a white paper. But just perhaps a CV applying for a television production job or a graphic designer could be less formal. Colored paper, unusual design, etc. Consider using a two-column table to list your educational qualifications and course taken. So it's going to present in a chronological manner. And you can sometimes be expected to write down a covering letter, and when sending a CV or job application form, you must include a covering letter. And the purpose of letter is just to make sure that the CV arrives on the desk of the correct person. So find the name of the person who will be dealing with your applications or CVs, address your letter and envelope to the person by name. In a small company, it may be directly the managing director. But in a medium-sized company, it may be the head of section or department. Only in a large company will there be a person or human resource department. So you have to address it well. And covering letter is just to persuade the person to read your CV. Make somebody read your CV. Okay, that's the main strategy in this main thing, in this meantime. So it must be relevant to the company, interesting and well produced, and you have to be expected to say why you want that particular job with that particular employer. And you are expected to write down the covering letter to draw the attention to one or two key points in the curriculum vitae which you feel make you suited to that particular job with that particular employer, and start your letter with the underlined heading giving the job title you are interested in. If you saw the job advertised, say where you saw it. And you have to be clear to say what job you are interested in. And if you're sending a speculative CV hoping that they may have work for you, explain what sort of work you're interested in. Do not say I would be interested in working for Widgets Limited, but say I believe in my skills equip me to work in the product development department, accounts office, and whatever. And use the style and pattern of a business letter suited to your culture and country. Ask for advice about this. Try to find sample business letters so that you can follow the style and layout. So your career office may guide you, may have a sheet about this or show you a sample, and the letter should be on one side of A4 paper. Do not use double side, and it must be polite and easy to read. Also, you are expected to mention where you are available for an interview and ending your letter with a request for specific extra information may give a positive response. Okay, bye and see you next week if no problem, Bye.